2020 selection was a film on Netflix. Happens to be the #1 film on Netflix. So I was thinking, this is interesting. Not you know, not your normal kind of quirky, weird art house stuff that I'm used to. And a film called Run. And it was definitely I was just going to say a good film, almost a good film for me personally. I think for the average viewer, this would be a good film. Hope I don't come across as being a film snob or in any way pious, but I knew exactly where this film was going from the beginning. It did have some really good surprises up its sleeve, to be fair, that took you by surprise, which annoyed me a little bit because I thought, oh, I know exactly what is going to happen next. Didn't quite work out like that. Great spirited performances. It was just good hokey fun, really, you know, with lots of silliness and craziness with the plot, but the film took itself seriously. I enjoyed the ride, and like I said, there were some great little twists and turns along the way. So I would definitely recommend it. I'd certainly recommend it for one to watch, you know, with your other half, if you've got another half who likes normal films, like my other half does, if you know what I mean. And I can definitely see why this film is so popular. So I would recommend it. But if you are a hoity-toity, you know, up your own bottom film snob like me, then you probably won't like it as much as the normal person would do. So Japan next. And for once, my algorithm failed me, I'm afraid. Takashi Kitano's Dolls from 2002. Got it on a special deal on iTunes, so like £4. And the film starts off with puppet theatre, Japanese puppet theatre, and then moves to live action using the stories in the puppet show to show 3 short stories that I didn't understand, didn't connect with, and even though visually this film looked really good, I mean, it was. I think there's a cultural issue for me with this film, that the film is obviously very Japanese, and so you know, the cultural differences for me were probably the issue where I didn't connect with it, and I don't think Kitano makes films for Western audiences at all. Why would he? But I do normally like his films, so I was surprised. And I also know this film's very well received, hence it gets into my algorithm. So very disappointed, but I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to pretend, you know, that I like a film when I don't, obviously. And this one was definitely not for me, and I probably won't try and revisit it unless someone down below in the comments tells me otherwise and explains what I've missed. But no, it wasn't for me at all, I'm afraid. Okay, Wuxia, Lady Snowblood, 1973. Once again, an incredible Criterion 2K restoration of this, I'm going to say masterpiece, because I have a sneaky suspicion that this is a masterpiece. I absolutely loved it. I loved everything about it. I thought the story was great. The costumes with the kimonos and yeah, it was amazing. And the colours really popped out the screen as well, with the scenes in the Japanese gardens and the villages and all of that. It's a very, very violent film, but in a kind of a Tarantino-esque kind of crazy kind of, I mean, Kill Bill obviously has got lots of got influence from this film massively, and the scenes of blood on snow and all of that are incredible. And it's just one of those films that it's also got some great kind of showy camera work that I love, with the camera angles, the focus, the deep focus, the zoom in, zoom out, and kind of using film shots to convey emotion. Like, you know, when there's a scene where there's a big reveal and the camera goes whoa like that, so you kind of like using, you know, very, very kind of obvious but great fun. Similar film in some ways to A Touch of Zen, I found, the way the camera moved and the camera was used. But yeah, just like, you know, again, so many things to love in this film. You know, the technical brilliance, the performances, the story, the quirky violence. It was just like very original, very different, and very wonderful. So I'm looking forward to seeing the sequel, Lady Snowblood, Love Song of Vengeance. It's also on the Criterion. It's the complete Lady Snowblood. I don't know whether there's another, I think there's an Arrow or there's another boutique edition of Lady Snowblood. So I'm interested to hear if that's even, well, it can't be a better transfer, I mean, I'm sure, but be interested to hear what the transfer's like for that, if anyone knows. But yeah, if you haven't seen Lady Snowblood, then I would suggest that you do. So my other classic rewatch that I should have seen that I haven't seen was a German film from 2015 called Victoria. 2 hours 20 minutes, one take. So straight away my interest is very, very apparent. And this film was not what I expected. The first hour, not a lot happens. When you read the plot synopsis, heist or genre heist thriller, it's actually kind of a drama love story. But you realise that the film was 2 hours 20 minutes long, so at some point it's going to kick off. But when it does kick off, it really kicks off and then turns into the heist thriller that's advertised. And it's one of those films that, I mean, it is, you know, because it is one take, so it's lots of handheld, kind of guerrilla style filmmaking. A little bit like, felt a bit like watching the Pusher films. And it's also a film that has got a lot of improvisation as you go along, obviously. But most importantly, what the film does, you get great empathy with the characters, some of which are bad characters. You empathy, and you know, you feel like you're in the action, and the suspense is brilliantly done, and it does kind of create this strange kind of engagement where you really generally care whether they get caught, whether they get in trouble, whether they get hurt. And it also had a very artsy kind of feel to it as well, where 2 or 3 of the scenes are kind of slowed down into kind of partly slow motion with no dialogue and just music, electronic, I think it's electronic music or electronic classical music. And there were points which almost moved me to tears, which sounds a bit pretentious, I know, but it is what it is. Music can, for me anyway, can just move you to tears quite easily if it's in a right, kind of done in the right way. So mixing music with imagery definitely pushes buttons for me and sends shivers down my spine and the tears, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I really felt that I was witnessing something truly unique and wonderful at times. I did struggle with the pacing a bit. Like I said, I watched it with my wife thinking it would be a film that she would enjoy as a kind of a normal film to watch, but it is hard going, I think, because that first hour not a lot happens. And I think it's a film that actually is not just about the story and the characters, it is about the filmmaking technique and the idea of doing one shot for 2 hours 20 minutes, you know, real time. So you know, you can appreciate it for that alone. But yeah, great film, and very embarrassed I've not watched it until now. Okay, so my second Chinese film was a film that it was advertised as like a virtual cinema festival. Popped up on Instagram. A film called Centre Stage from 1991, advertised in the 4K restoration, but starring Maggie Cheung. So it really grabbed my attention, and I just thought I'm gonna rent this. I'm gonna watch this, and it's the story of Ruan Lingyu, who is a Chinese actress in the 1930s and partly in the silent era. So I had trouble relating to this. I'm not really interested or engaged with that part of Chinese cinema. But Maggie Cheung. I have only seen Maggie Cheung in a few films. Obviously, she was unbelievable in the Mood for Love. I thought she was fantastic in Uma Vep. but didn't like the film very much. So a bit of a conundrum, really, that I've found this incredible actress, but I've not been in enough films that I love. She has made a lot of films, so I've got a long way to go. But I think that this film was a good film. You know, it was a good, solid film. The story, like a biopic of this film star, is done in a very unusual way, mixing original footage of the actress and also kind of a documentary feel to the film as well. But ultimately, it was a film that I didn't really enjoy for the narrative and the flow. But what I did enjoy was Maggie Cheung's incredible performance and the way that the director used that, because he lit her in the most beautiful ways possible, and what she wore, and there were lots of scenes where you could just freeze frame and just like, wow, you know, just look at the way that he's done that shot. And it was just one of those films that you could just watch purely for the visual beauty and visual delight. So, you know, would I buy the Blu-ray? Absolutely. Maybe when I watch it again, I'll kind of be more engaged, or I'll enjoy it more. I'll appreciate it more. But the story left me cold. It felt a little bit like the film Mank, where it was like where, you know, I mean, I'm vaguely familiar with Orson Welles and Citizen Kane and all that goes with it, but this Chinese actress I never heard of, and never really watched any films from that era of Chinese cinema. I'm more of a kind of I love more modern Chinese cinema, so I struggled with that. But I think Maggie Cheung in a few months' time, when I look back, will be my favourite actress of all time, because she is the most charismatic actress I've ever seen, and I better stop talking about her now, because yeah, that's my part 2. So now it's the exciting bit for me, where I go log on to Letterboxd, tap in my algorithm, and it tells me what I'm watching the next week or so, which is always great because I have no idea what's coming up, and it's just so exciting to discover new films and to share them with you guys in a week or two. So please keep watching. Hope you're all safe, and I just wish you all the very best, and take care. See you later.